Welcome to Beyond the Nudge, the podcast for women over 50 who are ready to grow joyfully, take aligned action with ease, and fully step into their age of empowerment. I'm your host, Kia Eileen, and this is your invitation to go beyond the whispers of intuition, dive deeply into your potential, and create the life and impact you've always dreamed of. Expect monthly themes, transformative insights, powerful frameworks, and practical tools to help you reconnect with your purpose, overcome challenges, and align with your most radiant self. And because wisdom grows in community, I will occasionally be joined by special guests, women with inspiring stories, expert insights, and life changing strategies to share. So here's what's in store: practical wisdom, actionable tools, frameworks from spirituality, psychotherapy, and metaphysics to help you grow, inspiring stories from me and from others who've transformed their lives and embraced their fullest selves, and empowered action to help you move from dreaming to doing with clarity and confidence. This is more than just a podcast. It's a space for transformation, empowerment, and connection. If you're ready to move beyond the nudge of intuition and fullest into your fullest expression, you're in the right place. So let's get started. Your best you is waiting beyond the nudge. So hello, 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 and welcome to this latest episode, episode 9 of Beyond the Nudge. I can't believe we're up to 9 already. And this week's theme, really caps off our month of the courage to change. So this week's theme is all around being the change that you want to see, being the change that you want to see. And here's what I believe about being the change that you want to see. Being the change is sacred work. It's not just about doing, it's about becoming. It's not about rushing around, it's about sitting in those moments and realizing that you are the thing that has the power to change, and then everything else ripples around that. It means aligning your actions with your words and your intentions and with your soul. And sometimes it's hard, right? It's hard making that change internally. But this is when we have to do it. This is when we really have to do it. When it is hard, when it does demand something of us, that change and that sense of becoming. Having the courage to change from within, becoming the change, doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be grandiose. It doesn't have to be big. Sometimes it's those quiet moments of choice, of decision, the quiet stillness that we can find to rise again, to get up again when you've had some challenges, to love again, maybe when your heart's been broken, to speak when you feel as though you've been silenced, showing up when it would be a lot easier to hide away. The world will be inspired to change because you have had the courage to change. So it's almost like being that leader from within. We can't look to other people to lead. We have to start and lead ourselves from within. And some of you may be feeling that you're here for a purpose. Some of you may not be so sure. And maybe you're sure, maybe you're not. But either way, maybe that change that you want to see in the world that you envisioned for yourself, for your family, for your children, for your future, maybe it seems far away. Because, of course, let's be honest, there's a lot going on in our world right now. You'd possibly have to be sort of living under a rock not to feel this rising of change and transformation that's happening right now. Um, in some ways, it's scary, but I think in a lot of ways, it's exciting. I often say that nothing can be healed truly unless it is brought to the surface to be seen, to be acknowledged. Everything in the universe wants to be acknowledged. And so, this rising that we can see that, seems to be dividing people, seems to be divisive, and there's injustice that we can see. There's division, there's violence, there's war, there's hunger, there's decimation of the planet and her resources. There's incredible unfairness, um, climate change. It's all happening, and it can feel overwhelming. And for many of us, especially women in their 50s and 60s, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by all of this. What's my role in this? How can I possibly affect change? I've been trying to change things for 50 years or for 40 years or for 50, 60 years, whatever. It can feel that, it's overwhelming. And maybe you feel paralyzed to actually move forward into the path that you know that you are destined to walk, to journey on. And maybe you're saying to yourself, okay, Kia, where do I even start? I don't even know where to start. Is what I'm doing, is it what is it matter? Does it matter? Do I matter? That's really the question you're asking. Do I matter? I'm just one person, or I've tried to help before and nothing has changed. Nothing's making a difference. It's only getting worse. Well, to those of you who are saying, okay, well, where do I start? Where do I start, Kia? You start here, right here, right now. You decide. You decide to say, I am going to be the change that I want to see. So it's taking that first step and making a decision. Does it matter? Is what I'm doing, does it matter? Do I matter? Of course you matter, because you actually are matter. You are here in the physical. Your physical form is here to bear witness to the magnificence of the universe that created you. So every step that you take, every decision that you take with intention from your heart, of course it matters, because that is a transference of energy from the universe. Everything that we do has a result, has an effect. So of course it matters, especially if what you are doing has intention behind it, has consideration behind it, has love behind it, has peace behind it, has forgiveness behind it. Of course, it matters. And I'm just one person. The biggest changes that have happened across history, across centuries, have started with one person who decided, I want something different in this experience. I want something better. And so it's about recognizing that it only takes one, and maybe that one is you. And it doesn't have to be a grand gesture, but it can be that step forward that inspires someone else to take a step forward. And then there's two of you. And then it compounds, and then there's four of you. And then there's multiple people taking that step forward. It only takes one person. It only takes one spark to light a fire. And maybe you're that spark. And if you're saying to yourself, I've tried so many things before and nothing's really worked, or, I'm tired or whatever, I think it's important to recognize that it's taken centuries, thousands of years to get where we are now. And now there is a change, there is a sea change of transformation, there's a rising of consciousness, there's a rising of light. I'm sure that you can feel this change that is happening. And if you can imagine, sort of like, I always kind of think of the analogy of a big oil tanker, a big tanker in the middle of the sea, how much energy that takes to turn that ship, to change direction. It doesn't happen instantly. It takes time. We are in the midst of that ship changing direction. We just have to keep going. Put the energy in, put the intention in to continue to shift and change our world for the better. Now is not the time to give up. Now is the time to move forward, knowing that you are playing a crucial role in where we go next. No pressure. And so I am speaking to that part of you that knows now is the time. Now is the time for change. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now. What are you seeing in your world? What are you experiencing in your world? Is it working for you? And then if it's not, you have a role to play, an important role to play. And I know that that part of you that I'm speaking to understands. Um, and if you're afraid that, maybe it's not shifting fast enough or, it's just all too much, I'm going to invite you to just take a step back, take a breath, and recognize that you don't have to change the world. You don't have to change everything. You don't have to, start a huge campaign. You can just start with you. It's important, it's imperative, it's necessary to start with you. Because we might not be able to change everything, but we can change what's going on in our experience and therefore change what's going on in the world. It has to start with us. So, as we're starting with ourselves, this is an invitation to take a step back and take a look within. And we all know that I love working with frameworks and acronyms. And so I've come up with something today that I think is appropriate for our discussion today. And so when we're talking about being the change that you want to see, this is really about you looking in the mirror and saying, instead of, railing against the world and saying everything is wrong and, I'm waiting for someone to fix it and, these terrible government people and, everything that's going on, taking a step back and saying, hang on a second, what can I change within me that is going to make a difference externally? What can I change? What can I do to control what's happening within me? And then that will have an effect on what's happening outside. So we're going to look at the mirror. And so instead of seeking what's out there, we're going to have a look inside of what's going on inside of us. And following this framework, the mirror frameworks are very easy to remember. We're going to navigate change within us so that we can become the thing that we want to see in the world. So M is mindset. Mindset shift. We're starting mirror with mindset shift. So recognizing where we have inherited beliefs and thoughts about our own power to affect change. Where have we held stories about ourselves and our limitations that prohibit us from really embodying our full power? So, have we internalized beliefs about our worth, abilities, gifts, talents, vision? How do you feel about your ability to impact the world? What do you think is possible? What have you been taught in your experience about what's possible? Or have you been conditioned to believe that, you can't change anything, that maybe you're a bit too small or inconsequential, or the machine is too big, or you never win, or we never win? Sometimes these internalized beliefs are, family conditioning, ancestral conditioning, societal conditioning. So can we start to reframe this as not our true experience? Because the truth is that you are magnificent. That's the truth. You are magnificent. You are not the limitations in your mind. You are the magnificence of your soul. And so, what conditioning is preventing you from seeing and fully embracing the vibration of love and power and possibility and expansiveness that exists within you? Can you come to face those limitations, recognizing that they are not you? They're figments of an imagination, and it might not even be your imagination. So if you're asking yourself, well, who am I to change anything? Who am I to do anything? You are magnificent. So who am I can become, why not me? Why not me? Why shouldn't it be me to walk this path and to embody this purpose? And if you're saying, well, I'm in my 50s, it's too late, the world has passed me by. Well, what if every experience that you've had through your life has led you to this moment so that it's not too late, it's the perfect time? You've been prepared for this time right now. So, what thoughts are running through your mind that deserve to be challenged? What beliefs deserve to be examined? Can you give your space and time, give yourself space and time to inquire instead of just letting the thoughts run riot and take control of your experience? Say, hang on a minute. Is this even true? Am I too small? Am I inconsequential? Is it too late for me? Is any of that true? Where does it belong? It does not belong in the experience of someone who knows they are magnificent. So we get to challenge that. So, what belief about yourself or the world is ready and waiting to be rewritten? Can you begin to ask yourself that and shift your mindset? So, I, inner healing, inner healing. And if we are becoming the change that we want to see, and we want the world to be a better place, we want the world to be more kind and love filled and forgiving and compassionate, well, it has to start within us. So if we want to build a better, more loving world, we must build a better, more loving relationship with ourselves. So what parts of you have you been hiding? What parts of you need your attention, need your awareness? What parts of you feel shame or guilt? What parts of you are afraid to be vulnerable, to be truly seen? So you hide those parts. What parts of you do you feel are unpalatable? And so you hide and only show the shiny parts that you think are worthy of being seen. I'm here to tell you that all of you is worthy of being seen. All of you, even the parts that you want to hide. So instead of running to fix the world, to fix someone else, maybe it's time for you to take a step back and to recognize that there are some parts within you that need and desire and deserve your attention and intention. Those are the parts that need you the most. Can you sit with all of you and say with compassion, I'm sorry for leaving you so long. I'm sorry for hiding you. I'm sorry for keeping you in the dark. I'm sorry for not allowing you to be known. forget about being known by everyone else, maybe being known by me, by you, by yourself. Can you create space for forgiveness? Can you create space to allow all of you to be seen and experienced? Can you break the patterns that may have existed not just within you, but perhaps within your family line, your maternal line, your paternal line? Can you break those patterns so that it stops with you? This fragmentation of parts of you, can you begin to integrate all of you to allow yourself to step forward fully embodied? This is the space of healing and truly loving yourself, all parts of you. Because sometimes people feel that slowing down and doing the healing, healing. And I don't mean healing, the kind of healing that prevents you from action. I mean, sometimes people run through their lives creating busyness, noble avoidance. We like to call it noble avoidance, so that they don't have to face themselves. But this type of healing isn't a distraction. This type of healing is actually the work so that you can step forward in the world with more compassion and more love because you have already given that to yourself. And when people see you giving this to yourself, it's an invitation for them to stop projecting and running. It's an invitation for them to come home to themselves as well. So can you give yourself this gift of healing, compassion, and love to be able to give the world the gift of witnessing what happens with your own transformation? So we have M and I, and we're going to move on to the first R. So this first R is radical responsibility. And I love radical responsibility. I love this topic. And it's quite an interesting one because it means we're not blaming. We're stepping out of blame and judgment. And we're saying, what role am I playing in this? So even if it doesn't have a direct effect on you, something going on across the ocean, you can begin to ask yourself, well, what role am I playing this in my vibration? What role am I playing in this in my awareness? Are you waiting for someone else to fix a problem in your life? So we're talking about levels of consciousness here, right? So are you waiting for someone to fix something in your life? Or are you ready to take your power back? We're talking about sovereignty here and ownership and responsibility. So before we ask someone to fix the system, fix the problem, are we willing to fix the system and the problems in our own lives? Are we willing to say, okay, I need to take a deeper look within myself instead of putting all of my passion and efforts into something else? Where are you looking for someone to save you? Can you begin the process of saving yourself, especially those parts that you're hiding? They're waiting for you. So ask yourself, where are you giving your power away? If you're waiting for someone to fix something, you're giving away your power. So where are you giving your power away? And what are you saying yes to? That means you are saying no to something that will enable you to step into your fullest expression. And I'll say that again. What am I saying yes to? That means, so what am I saying yes to? That means I am saying no to the fullest expression of my embodiment. Because if you're saying yes to something that isn't fully aligned with who you are, you're saying no to your fullest embodiment. So look at what you're saying yes to in your life. And is it pulling you away from that path that you're meant to be taking, that you know deep inside you're meant to be taking? And so if you want more love in your life, then maybe show yourself more love. More love in the world means showing yourself more love, even those dark, dark parts of you. Do you want more truth in the world? Well, can you invite in more truth into your life? And by this, I mean showing yourself more truth, maybe speaking the truth to yourself and to those around you. More justice in the world? Are you setting clear enough boundaries and asking for what you need and what you deserve? And more kindness. Maybe having a look at how you are speaking to yourself. Are you kind in your words and in your actions to yourself? How do you treat yourself? Because if we're asking for more kindness in the world, can we show ourselves that same level of kindness? And so taking responsibility means asking, what role am I playing in the vibrational aspect of what it is I'm seeing? Because if you're triggered by something, maybe it means that there's something that needs to be looked at within your own life. And taking responsibility for yourself is an invitation for others who are watching you, who are witnessing you, to take responsibility for themselves. And my goodness, what would happen if we're all taking radical responsibility instead of sitting in blame and projection and finger pointing at what they're doing to us? Maybe we can take some responsibility to say, I'm going to navigate my own course here. I'm going to take my own power back. I have the power to shift and change things in my life and in my experience. And therefore, I can own my power and step forward. And when you're in that space, when you go to do things, projects, your purpose, whatever it is that you're here to do, it has more power behind it because you are fully embodied. So taking full responsibility, radical responsibility, means you own your experience, your fully embodied experience. And that's an incredible and empowered place to be. There's a gentleman who teaches something called the Ho'oponopono, and it's a Hawaiian practice of forgiveness. And he tells the story of being in a hospital in Hawaii with severely violent and mentally ill patients. And I think they were having some trouble with these patients, and no one could sort of get through to them. And he walked in, and he's a psychiatrist, I think, a therapist. And he looked at these files, and these were kind of like, hopeless cases. People had given up on them. And he decided, instead of trying to fix them, he was going to take responsibility. And he didn't commit any crimes. Um, he hadn't done anything related to their files. He didn't even know them, but he didn't see them. He just took their files home, read them, and said, I'm taking responsibility here. So what is it in my experience that I can take responsibility for? And so he just began to do this practice that says, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And he said this over and over and over and over and over again. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And he wasn't saying, I'm sorry that I hurt someone. I'm sorry for these crimes. I'm sorry to them. What he's saying I'm sorry to is I'm sorry to the divine for not recognizing the things within me that need to be recognized. So I'm sorry to the divine that I haven't seen my fullest potential, that they haven't seen their fullest potential. So I'm sorry. Please forgive me to the divine. Thank you for loving me, and I love you. And he said this over and over and over again. And after a while, these patients who hadn't seen yet began to shift and to change. And some of them eventually got released from this facility. And so there is true power in taking responsibility without judgment, without blame. There's true power in the vibration of this. And so I offer this as a practice for you, taking responsibility, radical responsibility. So something that you're seeing in the world, look within yourself and say, where do I need to take responsibility within my own life? And then I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. So you're communicating to the divine, God, divine, source, universe, whatever um, you want to call the higher power that you identify with. But I'm sorry, God. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. So as soon as you see something that you want to change, look within yourself. What is it that I need to look at and take responsibility for? And then step forward in that energy. Because next are, when you take responsibility, you create a ripple effect of healing and of energy and of movement with only the very, it doesn't have to be large, big actions. It can be small, small actions. It can be a phone call to someone or sending a message. It could be leaving a note. It could be actually falling into silence and not saying something in the heat of an argument. It could be starting a project or just deciding. It could be giving yourself a bit of extra care and sleeping in. It could be getting up and doing some exercise. It could be a number of things because change doesn't have to be monumental and you don't need a global stage. You just need you to just take that first step. It just needs to be you to show up, showing up consistently and intentionally, understanding why you're doing something. If you want more love in the world, what are 10 small ways that you can show love to those around you? Maybe it's smiling at someone as you walk past them, saying good morning, chatting to your postman or your mailman. How can you brighten someone's day? You might not even know how important it could be. So what are some small gestures that you can start to do just to become that change? So, if you lead from the front, people will be watching you. You don't even know who is watching you, but people watch. And when they see you leading with love and tenderness and compassion, they will take note and becomes their invitation to do the same. They have permission to do the same because someone's doing it and it's possible. You show the scope of possibility with these actions. So you create a ripple effect by doing it. 1 becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 8. And before you know it, everyone is stepping forward in these small actions. And, the biggest wave takes the first drop. And so it's okay for you to just take that first step and create that ripple effect, lead from the front. And so in mirror, we have ownership of your voice. Ownership of your voice. Now, especially as women, sometimes in our lives and conditioning, we have been told to not be too much, to be quiet, to be, don't laugh too much, don't be too loud, don't be disagreeable, don't be assertive. And so we can feel that our voices have been silenced over time, getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But here's the truth: your voice is medicine. Your voice, your truth, your actual voice, the vibration of your voice when you speak from your heart, from your soul, is medicine. It's medicine for you, and it's medicine for people who are taking your voice in, feeling your voice, hearing your voice. And it doesn't mean you need to shout and scream, but it just means you need to speak from your truth with love and clarity and courage. And so, what is the truth that is lying within you that needs to be heard and realized? What is the truth in you that needs to be heard, acknowledged, experienced, witnessed? Can you bear witness to the truth that is inside of you? And so, if you're thinking, well, there is something in my life that no longer serves me, can you speak truth to that? If there is something in you that says, I deserve more, I deserve better, I'm ready now, can you speak truth to that? Can you stand in that truth and allow that to be expressed through you? This vibration is waiting for you. Your truth is waiting for you. So, whatever it is, speak it into existence. I'm ready. I'm worthy. I'm whole. I am loved. I am love. What is the truth that you feel coming from within you? Can you speak it now into existence out loud? And a great thing to do is to practice in a literal mirror and say these truths that you feel about yourself that are sort of bubbling under the surface, that are waiting for you to acknowledge. Can you even stand in front of a mirror and say, this is my truth? I am lovable. I am whole. I am ready. I am powerful. I am strong. I am soft. I am forgiveness. I am peace. Whatever it is, I am deserving. I am worthy. Whatever that might be, can you give yourself the space to speak your truth and own your truth? This is about the sovereignty to rule your own world from the inside and own your voice. Because now is not the time to be silent. Although there might be some times when silence is preferable, but this is about you being able to speak your truth. So, what is the truth that is lying in your heart? What is the truth that is really yearning to be expressed through you? Can you give that space without fear? Because here's the thing: when you speak truth with love, with clarity, with conviction, and you know it's coming from your heart, from your belly, that fear begins to dissipate, because that fear is imaginary. But your truth that comes from your heart and your soul, that is real. That is more powerful than any fear, imagined fear that you could be experiencing. So it's time to own your voice. And when you're owning your voice, you've shifted your mindset. You've done your inner healing. You've taken radical responsibility and created ripple effects, and you're owning your voice. Now is the time for you to reimagine the world. Reimagine the world as your heart sees it, as your heart knows that it exists, as your heart knows and understands the possibility of what can be created when we are all standing in this space of looking in the mirror first and leading ourselves with love and clarity first. And so, this is an invitation to ask yourself what is possible, dream bigger, ask for more, not just for yourself, but for future generations. Ask for more. It is not futile where we are. We have the power. We have the power to shift and change things by our choices, by our actions, by our intentions, by our deeds. So, asking yourself, so what is possible? What beauty do I want to create? What legacy do I want to leave? What is worth building for future generations? And also, what is worth leaving behind, tearing down, and realizing that that behavior or those ways of thinking, they're no longer serving us as a whole planet. So what things are worth leaving behind? What things are worth embracing and amplifying? What things do we need to say, thank you, but you have served your purpose and you can't go forward with us where we are going? So it's about living from vision and not from limitation, living from purpose and possibility, living from the heart and not from perception, the perception of fear and futility. So it's about seeing the world feeling into your heart and asking your heart what is possible, and then seeing that vision emerging from within you. And then asking yourself, what is the role, no matter how small, that I can play here? There are billions of us on this planet. And if we were each asking ourselves this question, if we were each asking, what's the role that I can play that will move us toward this vision? And then taking action, no matter how small. Can you begin to reimagine this world that you have been cultivating within you, that you now have the power to action? Because if you are seeing it, if you are feeling it in your heart and your soul, know that it already exists because you are connecting to it. So if it already exists, you just need to hold that vibration as you lead yourself toward this vision. So reimagine the best thing, not only for you, but for all of us, for every being on this planet, because it's already unfolding. It's already unfolding. It is already unfolding. And so, becoming the change that you want to see can be a very, as I said in the beginning, I feel this is a very sacred practice. It's a very sacred act, this act of becoming. I believe that this is what we're here for, not just here to allow life to happen to us. It's about how we live life, how we embrace life, the choices that we make to make life better and more beautiful, filled with love and understanding and joy and happiness and abundance, because it is all here for us as we step into that space of becoming the change. The change is you. You are perfection. And I am so excited to see you walk in that space to create the world that I know is waiting for us all. So thank you for joining me on this episode of Beyond the Nudge. I hope you have left feeling inspired and empowered and ready to step forward and take more action in your year of significance with this month's theme, the courage to change. So remember, this is just the beginning. We have so much more to explore together. So be sure to tune in to the next episode where we're going to dive into next month's theme, which is the power of possibility. April's theme is the power of possibility, and the next episode's theme is daring to dream big. So before we wrap up, I'd love to share two causes that are close to my heart. Women for Women International, an incredible organization empowering women in war-torn countries to rebuild their lives. And Mantle of Hope in Northern Uganda, a charity offering hope and support to the victims of sex trafficking and domestic violence. If you're moved to make a difference, I encourage you to learn more about their transformative work and consider joining me in supporting them. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and please share this episode with someone who could use a little nudge of her own. Because remember, your best you is waiting beyond the nudge. Until next time.